Well, one of the biggest trends we're seeing right now is just huge growth in mobile web activity. And in fact, a lot of people are predicting that in the battle between apps and the mobile web, that mobile web's ultimately going to win. Because essentially, all of that stuff that people want to access, having it in the cloud is much easier for people to get to quickly, right? So with mobile, speed and quickness, sort of like the discovery process is extremely important. So apps have been great to kind of open up the door for what mobile content can deliver, and I think they'll still play a role. But the fact that all of these new services are available via mobile web is going to be a much bigger play going forward. In fact, we're seeing that the growth of the mobile web is far outstripping what the growth of the internet was in the late 90s. So some of the analysts out there are predicting that mobile web traffic is actually going to surpass desktop web traffic by 2015.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, beyond that, there's a couple of, there's been some really major trends in terms of location and especially proximity marketing. So we've seen not only services like Foursquare and Gowalla and Loop launch programs that are specifically branded programs, but others as well. So Facebook is probably going to be launching a location-based service in the very near future, and others, other social networks like Twitter already have location kind of built in. And have yet to sort of leverage it. So we're kind of looking at what the big players in the social media space do when it gets to location is sort of the next big thing. But already we're seeing brands jumping in with some of the smaller players in the space. Yelp is another one that is actually probably one of the leaders in terms of the number of actual users. And so they recently launched features which are very Foursquare-esque, like badges and such. And they also offer brands a way to play in this space. Well, I think mobile communications and mobile marketing is really an essential part of real-time engagement because the device is with people wherever they go and basically all the time. Even in the middle of the night, they're seeing that, especially among younger demographics, that people will check social networks when they wake up in the middle of the night because they have their cell phone next to their bed. So it's really it's becoming the first screen for many of the brand marketers out there and media companies. ESPN recently stated at the Mobile Marketing Forum that they consider it now their first screen when they start looking at the new services they're offering. Google has also said that whenever they're launching a new innovation, that they look for how it's going to impact mobile first. So it's really in terms of being able to get to a consumer or communicate with a consumer, it really has to be a core element of your engagement strategy. Well, there's a couple of really good examples. When I was at the Mobile Marketing Forum a couple of weeks ago, I had the pleasure of sharing the podium with Jamie Miller of Carrabba's Italian Grill and the two of us talking about their program that leveraged Foursquare for businesses. Now, they were actually the first nationwide restaurant chain to launch specials across all of their locations, over 250 locations, I believe, across the U.S., and offering specials for mayors. And one of the things that they learned in the process of that is that the people that were claiming those specials, the people that were becoming mayors of Carrabba's, were actually what we call hyper-influencers. We could see that by looking on Twitter when they were actually posting to Twitter that they'd claimed their mayorship of a Carrabba's, and we could see that they all had, for the most part, over 100 followers on Twitter, some thousands of followers. So Carrabba's was reaching a very special group of people, not just the average Twitter user, but really influential Twitter users. And we've seen that in general, people on Twitter tend to be, the ones that are active on Twitter tend to be more influential and more interested in engaging with brands than other social networks in general. So it was really a great opportunity for Carrabba's to extend some of the work they're already doing in social media on Facebook and on Twitter and really get get that information and get that engagement down to the store level. And one of the ways they did that was whenever a mayorship was claimed and a special was claimed at a Carrabba's restaurant, the manager of that restaurant was required to actually meet with the customer and establish that one-to-one connection. And beyond that, face-to-face meeting, there's a whole list, bunch of analytical tools that are offered for free by Foursquare to participants in that program. But other brands are doing this kind of work as well. In fact, Maurice's, it's a women's apparel brand that we work with, one that has over 750 locations across the United States, but mostly in rural communities, has leveraged social media in a very big way. They have over 80,000 fans on their Facebook account. And on mobile, we launched a program with them in January called the Mobile Style Club. We actually launched it on Facebook. So we got our initial opt-ins for that program off of Facebook, but it was then subsequently integrated into every consumer touch point that they had, including their website and their stores. Their associates wore lanyards that said text style to 87812. And they saw that each one of these channels had great effectiveness in terms of opting people in. And again, they've seen this group grow at over 5,000 per month since it launched in January. And one of the really exciting aspects of it is that we've enabled two-way messaging on this group. So besides the ability to send out alerts, which we do regularly, we can also get feedback from the group. And we set up a keyword, OMG, that customers can use to text back their questions or comments or thoughts. And then what we allow the brand to do at that point is to look at those messages coming in and provide, and we can give them direct message feedback. So it's essentially a chat that opens up with any customer that we choose out of this group of people that are giving us feedback. So it's a really unique way to deliver customer service, in fact, in real time via text messaging.